Well, welcome back to another episode of the Cruise Conversations podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Frank.
And today's episode is episode number 109, and we're sitting down with Keith to talk about his recent 7-night Alaska cruise on Holland America's Koningsdam. Let's jump into it.
Well, as we mentioned at the top, this week we're continuing our little mini series on Alaska cruising. Michael and I, we just got off our Alaska cruise. We had our friend Keith message us, and he was a listener to the podcast and was like, hey, I know that you guys have been doing this little mini series. Would love to talk about his Alaska cruise that he got off recently. So we're going to dive through. This is actually the Holland America Koningsdam Alaska cruise. We're going to dive into that. But Keith, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Keith is an influencer on YouTube, so go check him out, Wakeview Travel. Give him some follows, give him some subscribes if you enjoy this. Of course, we would love if you could go follow him as well. So Keith, first of all, welcome again. We're excited to kind of dive into just a little bit about you at the beginning. What would you say is kind of like why you get excited about travel? Talk to us a little bit about your travel philosophy.
My philosophy is travel as much as you can until you can't. Too many times people say, I'll do this one day. Sometimes one day never comes. Do it while you can.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And because I that's why I'm glad we got into cruising like so young now, because it's what I look forward to each year. Is how we plan a lot of our travel, like seeing Alaska, seeing Europe, like a bunch of these newer places we've seen is all through cruising at the end of the day. Now, Keith, how many cruises would you say you've done so far, and what are some of the different lines you've sailed?
I've only sailed on Carnival and now Holland America.
Okay.
We've done about 6 or 7. We cruised in the early or late 90s and early 2000s, and then we just kind of got out of it doing family trips to the beach and things like that. And a couple years ago, we went on a group cruise with some friends, and I was like, why don't we do this more often? So now we're doing at least one a year. Now we had 2 booked this year, 1 already for next year. So
there you go.
We're ready to get back into it.
That's awesome. I mean, group cruises, we always said it's so much more fun going with a big group. I love going with my wife, of course. I can't talk bad about that, but love going with my wife. But going with a bunch of friends that want to do different things, and you can spread out along, amongst your friends and do different things on the ship. It's always so much more fun. So Keith, on this particular cruise, who were you traveling with, and what made you pick this ship and itinerary?
It was our 25th anniversary trip, 1 year late.
Oh,
okay.
Nice.
We were supposed to go last year, and then just things happened in life, so we just had to postpone it. And we've always wanted to go to Alaska, and that was the perfect chance to have a nice anniversary cruise.
Nice. Well, first off, congrats. 25 years. I mean, probably closer to 26 now. But so you guys live in Bowden, Georgia. How was the trip to the cruise port? We know you sailed out of Vancouver. So did you spend any time like seeing Vancouver before your sailing?
Yeah, we flew in the Thursday before the cruise. The cruise left on Saturday. So we spent a day in Vancouver just walking around. We took a trip over to Granville Island, went through all the shops, went to a brewery over there and had some lunch, and came back to town, went over and saw the steam clock over in Gastown. That was pretty cool.
I was gonna say, I don't think I realized how big Vancouver was until we were sitting down. I was kind of going over the notes for this episode, and I was looking at pictures of it. It looks beautiful. And I know our cruise, we stopped in Victoria, and that too I did not expect it to be as nice as it was.
Yeah. I was just talking to my mom, and she was just in Vancouver, and we were just talking about her cruise and our cruise, and I was like, I would just go to Vancouver, like not Victoria. I would go to Victoria, not Vancouver. I've not been to Vancouver, but I was like, yeah, Victoria was so nice. Just walking around and seeing Fisher's Wharf and all of that area was super cool. So Canada, underrated, I think, in my opinion.
It is, really. Vancouver's a beautiful city.
All right, so you're in Vancouver getting ready for your cruise. How was that experience getting to the port, and how was that embarkation process once you're at the port, getting through security, getting your bags dropped off with the porters, compared to what you've experienced in the past at other ports?
It was actually pretty seamless. We stayed like 2 blocks away from the cruise port, so we could just walk over there. It did look a little congested if people were driving in, but we just walked right across the street. They had plenty of people out there telling you which way to go, where to get in line. I think once we dropped our bags off, went through security, it was maybe 30 minutes and we were on the ship. I heard some nightmares for some people, but I think if you're from the U.S. and Canada, it was a lot easier for you. Like we had a lot of Australians on this sailing, and they said it took them over 3 hours to get through security.
Wow.
Oh man. I will say, being staying so close to the cruise port seems super cool. When we were in Seattle, Norwegian had a port right there in downtown, and we were walking like my family was walking down the boardwalk area there, and you just saw everybody like the ship was there the day before we left, and they were all walking with their luggage just from the hotel right across the street to the cruise port.
Yeah.
Ours was a little bit further up, so we couldn't do that per se.
And
But
you can't do that at any of the Florida ports.
yeah,
Like you pretty much have to take a car. So definitely a different experience.
Actually, at Canada Place, there's I think it's called the Pan Pacific Hotel.
okay.
It is right on top of the cruise port.
Wow.
You
That
can
is-
actually give them your bags. They'll take them to the ship. You can get in the elevator and go down and then get in line to get on the ship.
Guess we'll have to cruise from Vancouver some point.
I
in the
know.
future.
That'll probably be my next one, honestly, is doing a one way either from Vancouver or ending in Vancouver. I think is my next idea for Alaska.
The Pan Pacic's a little pricey. I think it was like 600 and something a night, so that's why we stayed 2 blocks away.
Yeah.
Still close though.
All right, so you get on Holland America's Koningsdam. This is one cruise line we haven't talked much on the podcast. We've done an episode here or there over the couple years on Holland America. So let's kind of just start. You get on the ship. What were kind of your first impressions when you got on the ship, and what were some of the first things you did once on board?
We got on the ship and it's very elegant. It's a lot of clean lines. As soon as you walk in, there's a grand piano over in the corner. It's really a beautiful ship. One of the first things we did, I guess, was what everybody should do. We did our muster, and then we headed up to the buffet and had some lunch. Then we headed up to the observation lounge, and we hung out up there for a while. Saw some great views of the harbor. Met some really nice people up there. Everybody's on vacation. Everybody's excited.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I've seen pictures of the observation lounge on Holland America, and it looks like a really cool place to hang out. So at some point, you probably ventured over to your room. What type of room did you end up booking on this cruise?
We got a veranda. I suggest everybody gets a balcony at least their first time they go to cruise to Alaska, because, as you all know, those views are spectacular, and it's just so nice getting out on that balcony in the morning and drinking some coffee and just watching everything go by.
Was there any difference with this balcony and how it was set up compared to other balconies you've been in the past?
It was pretty standard. It had a little table and a couple chairs out there. The bathroom was actually very nice on this ship. The shower was huge. It
Wow.
had a nice glass door. It didn't have that icky shower curtain like on a lot of the Carnival ships.
I hate that.
All right, so you're done in your stateroom now. It's time for sail away. I know we had kind of talked on our cruise. Our Alaskan sail away was obviously much different than like a sail away in the Caribbean. How about your sailing? What did you end up doing for sail away, and what were kind of like the vibes of the entire sail away?
We went back up to the observation deck, and we're sitting in some loungers, sitting right up front, having some drinks, and then as soon as we round the corner out of the harbor over there, you see the Lions Gate Bridge coming up. So I made my way up to the top, and it's just I think every port has that, where there's that moment where you realize you're on vacation. And in Tampa, it's going under the Skyway Bridge, and
Yeah.
Port Canaveral, Miami, it's when you hit the breakwater, and
Yeah.
in Vancouver, it's when you go under that Lions Gate Bridge.
That's true.
Is this bridge one of the ones where it looks like you're barely going to make it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It looks like you're going to barely make it, but you probably still have about 50, 100 foot, something like that.
Okay. Well, Keith, we'll get back to more about the ship because we want to hear what you thought about Holland America, the food, the entertainment. But you booked this cruise because you wanted to see some of Alaska's beauty. So your first stop on this cruise was the Tracy Arm Fjord and Juneau. How was this day, whether you're seeing the Tracy Arm Fjord and then obviously getting to walk off in Juneau and do some of the activities? What did you guys have planned for this day?
Well, we really didn't do anything for Tracy on Fjord. Really, the ship just stops, and there's an excursion boat that goes up. I think there was too much ice for us to go up in there. But it was a late. I think we got in Juneau like at 1:30 in the afternoon. But we had a combination excursion with Mendenhall Glacier and some whale watching.
Nice.
So we hopped on the bus right there off of the cruise ship and made our way over to Mendenhall. We only had 45 minutes there, and it's a 45-minute walk out to Nugget Falls, so we didn't get to do that. But we found a little sand dune over on the side where we could get some pictures and see the sights. In hindsight, I probably would have done a little bit different excursion, either one or the other. But we made our way got back on the bus from Mendenhall, went to the port over there and jumped on the whale watching boat, and that was amazing. It was about a 20-minute ride out there, and then at one point we had like 4 sea lions next to the ship or next to our boat, and we're just kind of looking at the sea lions, and all of a sudden this humpback whale just comes up behind them about 50 feet away.
Oh
You
man.
could hear everybody, ooh, ah.
Yeah.
It was really a good tour. We saw a lot of whales that day. Then on our way back, we hopped back on the bus. On our way back, we saw, oh my God, probably 100 bald eagles. We saw some bears walking around in some neighborhoods. And the humpback statue that's there in Juneau?
Yes.
We just happened to be going by while the fountain was going off.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So that we got some good pictures of that. And luckily, we were the last ship in port. So when we got back to town, it was like a ghost town. We walked right up to Tracy's Crab Shack. We were like the second one in line. We were in 5 minutes. Had some good crab and crab cakes, and then we went next door. Well, it's a little bit of a walk, but we went to the Red Dog Saloon, and of course, and had the obligatory duck fart,
Nice.
or two or three.
Yeah. We're not counting, Keith.
Yeah.
The guy who plays the guitar in there, he's quite a character. He puts on a pretty good show. And then after that, we just made our way back to the ship. And like I said, it was a ghost town. We were the last ship in port. We didn't leave till like 11 o'clock, I think.
Nice. That's awesome.
See, that's cool that you had an extended day there because we also got in at 1:30, but I think we left 8 or so that day.
Yeah, 8 or 9, I think.
Yeah, I think, or at least all aboard, or like the call time to get back on the ship was about 8. So having that extended to 11, I think, is super helpful because, like you said, you're able to kind of go do those excursions and then go to the restaurants and all that. Because even like we did Mendenhall, and by the time we got back to the town area, we probably had about an hour till we had to get back on. So I went to a distillery, and then I was walking back. Red Dog Saloon has a like just little quick service bar off the back side of it, and I was gonna do that duck fart shot there. But by the time I came walking back down, they were already closed for the night. Because like I said, I mean, at that point, we were probably one of the last ships there, too, for the day.
Yeah.
But like I said, we just had to be back on a little earlier. So, yeah, super cool you're able to find a itinerary that let you stay there that late.
I think that's a Holland America thing. I think they spend more time in port than anybody else up there. Them
Okay.
and Princess, I think.
All right, so your second stop now is Skagway. So this is where your itinerary actually differs a little from us. How was Skagway? What did you end up doing, spending your day here?
It's a beautiful sail in there, going through the little fjord there. But it was a busy day in port. There were 4 ships there. We did another combo excursion where we went to Musher's Camp because my wife loves the dogs, so we had to go see some puppies, and they showed us how they hook them up and all that stuff, and did a tour around the little space out there where they actually let them run. Then they brought some puppies out, of course, and everybody got to hold them. And the lady who did that tour, she was very informative. She actually she is a Iditarod racer, so
Okay.
Wow.
she gave us a lot of insights on what it takes. You can't just show up with some dogs. You got to do a lot of preliminary races to show you can actually do it.
Yeah.
They don't want you out there in the middle of the winter stuck.
Yeah. That's really cool.
And then after that, we walked over to a gold panning place that was part of the tour, and they did a little introduction there, showed everybody how to pan for gold. So we took a few minutes panning for gold. I think my wife got about $20 worth. I got about $18 worth. So we didn't get to retire and start cruising every day. So
That's awesome.
then we made it back to town, and my wife, if anybody knows my wife, she's gonna shop, and she was shopping. We stopped at a brewery there in town. I think it's the Skagway Brewery. Had
Nice.
some lunch there. That was good, and spent the rest of the day just walking around town. I think next time I'm gonna take the train ride. That looks like it's gonna be amazing.
Now, how long would you say? What time did you get to port, and what time did you leave here in Skagway?
We got there fairly early. We had like a it was like an 11-hour day there.
Wow.
Man, okay.
That's awesome.
Like I said, all our stops we had long days. So even after our excursions, we had plenty of time to explore the town.
I was about to say, yeah, because you're like, man, we're doing these combo excursions and
Yeah.
still having time for dinner and shopping, and I'm like, that sounds like a nice little
That sounds like
little
a great
day in these
itinerary.
ports.
Sounds like you guys had a great day in Skagway. Like you said, next time we're going to Skagway, next time you're going to Skagway, we'll do the train. The dog sledding thing sounds really cool too. And that's my next thing that I do in Juneau probably is check out like one of the camps on the snow and do that. But your third stop now, this is one of the most sought after kind of experiences, and one of the benefits of booking a Holland America cruise is that you get to sail through Glacier Bay. How was your day sailing through Glacier Bay?
All I can say is just stunning views from the morning till the evening. We saw some brown bears up on the mountain taking a nap. We saw some mountain goats. There was a lot of otters floating around out there. They say the otters and seals like that area because I guess it's the water's too cold for some of the orcas to get up there towards the glacier, so they like to hang out up there. But we saw plenty of wildlife. We actually saw a bald eagle on a growler out there on the ice. We
Wow.
got a good picture of that, and so we finally made it up to Marjorie Glacier, and the ship just kind of hung out there for like an hour or two, just kind of spinning around, letting everybody have some views. We saw some good calving. And on Holland America, they give you some pea soup while you're out there on deck. You know, they open up the bow for everybody to go out there. They start serving everybody pea soup and hot chocolate, which doesn't seem like a good combination, but it
I
does
know.
warm you up.
I was about to say bears, mountain goats. Those were things I was hoping we would see. Obviously, we saw the whales, we saw the seals, sea lions.
Yeah.
To be fair with the mountain goats and bears, you better have some binoculars
Yeah.
because you think that mountain's real close. You're really actually about 3 miles away. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was about to say, even like when we were going through the Tracy Arm Fjord, it's not like the little coastline there. I mean, it's steep, so you're not going to see a bear right
yeah,
down there half the time.
You got to
Like you
be
said, you'd have to
looking.
be looking higher up out for them.
they had some naturalists and park rangers come on the ship, and they were actually pointing out everything that they saw so we could see it. You know, they had somebody up with some high-powered binoculars and finding the bears and the mountain goats so we could actually see where they were.
That's really cool. Yeah, we had a naturalist in like the 270 area, and she was kind of narrating on you could either be down there or we were in our room listening to her while she was down in that venue on our balcony, and she was like pointing out stuff or just explaining like how the glacier worked. And I was like, it's pretty cool because you don't think about how much it took to make that glacier, how many years and thousands of years of compressed snow. It's such a cool process. So I like learning about that and having someone who's an expert pointing out, certain things. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, one of the park rangers said that was she'd worked there for 3 years, and that was the first time she'd ever saw the Marjorie Glacier calve in person.
Well, it sounds like a great day. Glacier Bay, tons of great views, and like you said, plenty of wildlife you saw. Now, your last stop on the sailing was Ketchikan. How did you end up spending your day here in Ketchikan?
Our excursion was late in the afternoon, so again, my wife did a lot of shopping. We walked down through Creek Street. We went through the tour at Dolly's down there
Yeah.
to see the old brothel, and that was kind of neat. That lady in there is a character. Everybody needs to go in there and see
We
that.
saw her. We were like gonna do it and we didn't do it. I wish I wish we did it, but it was
Yeah, it's
cool.
only like $10, and she puts on a good show. Then we kept walking through Creek Street. Got some nice pictures. There were no salmon running because it was early. This was in May, so but there was a lot of snow runoff, so the water was rushing really good.
What was your excursion at this port?
Uh, we went to the what was the name of that distillery? You went there, I believe. It was the Uncharted Alaska Distillery. We actually walked. We went back to the ship and we walked to the distillery. And the guy was joking. He said, "Well, you're gonna have to climb this hill, but you'll be able to stumble back down." So we went in and he showed us all the still or their they showed us the distillery. He went through all his spiel about how hard it is to get things up there. I mean, the logistics they have to do to get all their supplies. Everything has to come in on barge, so they have to order things so far in advance. And then the kelp vodka that was very interesting to hear about
Yeah.
how they make vodka out of the kelp.
Did you try it?
Yes, I, I I'm happy to say I tried everything they let me.
Yeah.
So you definitely stumbled down the hill then.
And then at the end of the tour, they take you upstairs and they let you choose between a vodka, gin, whiskey, or a tequila, and they let you spice it up with your own. They have a bunch of spices out on the table there for you. So I put some lemon and orange in mine, and they smoked my bottle, and we poured the whiskey in there, and I just cracked it open last weekend, and
Okay.
it's really good.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like you guys had a great day in Ketchikan. Now let's kind of talk about your cruise experience, right? So you've kind of talked about it a little bit, but your cruise included roughly 2.5 sea days. We're wanting to know a little bit about what that typical sea day looked like for your group, and did you guys have a plan for your sea days, or did you just kind of go with the flow on board the Koningsdam?
We didn't really have a plan for sea days. I think the first sea day we met up with a bunch of people from the Facebook group and did a slot pool, and
Nice.
we just played till the money was gone. Then I think my wife did a lot of. She had a lot of spa treatments while we were on there. The first sea day, I did the polar plunge, which I think they should really call the polar exit because you're jumping in a heated pool. It was colder getting out.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
pool was 85 degrees.
That's awesome.
Then we spent a lot of time up in the observation lounge, just watching the sights go by on the first sea day. The last sea day, we did another slot pool with the same group. We ended up actually winning about $800 that time, so it
Oh,
all
there you
worked
go.
out. And they had a big scavenger hunt for all the kids on board. And I think my wife was missing the grandkids, so she joined all the kids in the scavenger hunt and
Nice.
the activities. And
That's awesome.
then at the end of that day, they had a like a little carnival where everybody could win raffle tickets for certain things. We won a coffee mug, and my wife won the stuffed Leo that they have on board that she'd been wanting. So I said, "Well, now you don't have to buy it; you won it."
Yeah. There
Exactly.
you go.
The sea days were really chill on this ship. I mean, it didn't have a big party vibe. It does skew a little bit older. There were some older people, but there were some younger people too, and everybody was just vibing, hanging out, having some drinks, and talking all day.
And that was gonna be my next question because you said it was a May cruise, and you just said there were some kids and like activities going on. How many kids would you say were like on the ship? Is it a good amount?
There might have been 20 to 30 children on the ship.
Okay,
There wasn't a lot.
gotcha.
I said they do have a kids club on board, and I went up there and videoed it a little bit just so people could see it, and it seems to be pretty nice.
Yeah, we noticed too. Like there were a lot of kids on our cruise, but the vibe was not as much party. Like you think Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Norwegian. Most people on the Caribbean cruises have a drink package. I mean, it was very few people were really like people were drinking, but it was just like you were drinking and you were playing cards. Like you were drinking and just like you were in the solarium in the pool or whatever. Like people weren't really like dancing and partying as much on these itineraries because you're there just to relax but mostly to see Alaska. It's a little bit different. How were the crowds on board? Especially like around the buffets in the Lido deck. Did you notice it could get congested, or did it feel like it flowed pretty well?
It flowed well on the sea days. During lunchtime, it got a little crowded, but you never really had a problem finding a place to sit. You weren't walking around with your food trying to find a place. They had plenty of seating. It really wasn't that bad crowded. And I think the ship was sailing fairly full, if not over capacity.
All right, let's talk food a little. I know you said on one of the glacier days they had the pea soup that they do on Holland America, and obviously they had hot chocolate out there for you. Where did you find yourselves eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner throughout the days? And what did you think of the food overall?
3 days, like the late Juno day and the 2C days, we had breakfast brought to the room. Room service is still included on Holland America. You know, they do have some upcharge items for if you wanted steak or something like that, but it was just nice to chill in the room and have breakfast and sit on the balcony and watch things go by. On port mornings, we would run to the buffet real quick and have breakfast there.
No, that's awesome. We on our cruise, it was continental breakfast for free if you want like the basic, like a bagel, cereal, like anything that's not hot really. And then if you do want anything hot, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, I think it's $7 to deliver to your room. And we did that one day for breakfast. We got mimosas. I don't think they charged us, right? Because we got mimosas they didn't really ever charge us for. But then we got eggs. We had like 4 plates of just like eggs, bacon, sausage, toast. And we just sat. That was the day that we were in the glacier. And I was like, man, why would you want to go deal with the buffet when you got this? You know, we were in our balcony. It was so awesome.
Right.
So little hack for anyone that is like, whether it's $7 or it's free, I think do it one day and get the food delivered to your room. Whether again dinner after a long day at port, you know you can get as much as the food as you want really, or you could do it for breakfast or lunch. But it is a nice little thing that people forget about. How about for dining for the main dining room? Like, did you guys do main dining room for dinner, or did you do any specialty dining? How was that? How was the quality and kind of the service for dinner on your ship?
We went to the main dining room twice, and both times it was excellent. Some of the best food I've had on a cruise was on this ship.
Wow.
We did 3 nights specialty dining. Well, our package came with one specialty dining, so we did our anniversary night in the Pinnacle Grill and had a steak night down there. It was good, but it was very long. And I understand when you're doing specialty dining, it's going to take a little bit longer because it's just an experience. But this took about 3 hours.
Oh
And
my.
Oh,
we were ready to get out of
Yeah.
there.
it's like an hour between courses.
Yeah,
the
that's crazy.
the other night we did at the Tamarin, they have a Morimoto pop up. That was the best food I've had on any cruise ship. Really, it might be anywhere. They had I had the angry lobster. It came with some noodles and lobster. My wife had shrimp 3 ways. It's really a hidden gem, I think, because not we were only one of 2 tables up there, and they have this drink, the cucumber mojito up there. I could have drank a pitcher of those. I'm glad I didn't, but I could have.
That is awesome.
The last sea day, we had an Alaskan bake. They take half the lead or half the buffet area and close it off, and they bring you out a big steam pot with some salmon and clams and mussels and Dungeness crab, and I think it was like $35. I mean, you couldn't beat it. It was really good.
I was about to say, seems like plenty of different food options throughout the ship. Everything sounds real good. I mean, the shrimp 3 ways. You said you had lobster and noodles, right? That sounded
Yes.
real good. Steakhouse, yeah. Or was it the steakhouse? You said took 3 hours, right?
Yes, it took 3 hours.
Yeah.
They were a little bit busy.
Okay, but yeah, I mean,
That's the one I feel like should go the quickest. I mean, just cranking through steaks. But yeah, I
I
guess
mean,
they probably had a backlog of
I
orders.
get my
and-
steak medium rare. They didn't have to cook it very long. You know?
Exactly. It's like a 3-minute cook, right? Boom, boom, and then it's over.
but overall, I mean, like we said, the pea soup, the boil, the Alaska bake, the little pop up dinner you had the one night. It sounds like there's plenty of options that are specific to
Alaska.
Alaska and but also Holland America that we may not
Yes,
see on other lines.
They try to immerse you in the culture wherever you're cruising. It seems.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so let's kind of move on to some add-ons on the sailing. I mean, I know you said your wife did some time in the spa. Did you end up booking also like a drink package, Wi-Fi, and if so, how was your experience with these add-ons?
We did the have it all package early booking, so we had the drink package, we had Wi-Fi, we had the one specialty dining came with it, $75 per person for shore excursions. I don't think we utilized the drink package as much as we probably would on another cruise, just because, like you talked about earlier, it's more about the itinerary than the ship or a party vibe.
Yeah.
Everybody was just chill. I probably wouldn't do the drink package in Alaska again, just because I just didn't get the money's worth out of it. But it was nice just getting whatever you want, not having to worry about a price at the end, getting
Yeah.
a bill at the end. Her spa package was extra. Other than that, I think that's we didn't really do any extra other than specialty dining.
Yeah, Keith, and I think too, like you said, with the longer days you had at port, it probably also made it harder to kind of make up the value for the drink package in those days.
Yes, because after a long day at port, you get back on the ship and have a couple drinks. It usually hits you pretty hard.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to add on that package, the Have It All package, since we booked so early, that it also included our gratuities.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, gratuities add up on a 7 night cruise when you have a couple guests. You don't think about it, but that's something that usually is nicer to pre-book, and when you get on the ship, you don't have to deal with it. Keith, let's talk about the entertainment on board. How did you feel like the live, if there was any live music, comedy, any of the shows that you were able to catch? How did you feel like the quality of those were? Did you get to enjoy that? I know that Holland America does a really good job with their live music on board. They bring on a lot of great, talented musicians. Did you get a chance to catch any of that?
Every night, we were in BB King's Lounge,
Nice.
in the Rolling Stone Lounge, the Billboard on board. I will say the dueling pianos, there were a lot of people that enjoyed it, and maybe it was just me, but it just seemed like those two didn't vibe together. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's almost like they were competing with each other instead of performing with each other.
I will say, like, the best dueling pianos I had was on Icon, and man, there was like two different styles, and you almost thought like they were like together, like dating, like they almost played it off like they were two single people, and they were kind of like playful like that. So it was a really good, like, it was a really good show, and man, every night was not a small venue, obviously largest ship in the world, but you had to get there really early because it was crazy to even get a seat. It was crowded. So I don't know if Keith, like the space was how it was for you guys, like if you had enough space for like the venue, or did you feel like it was a little crowded?
You had to get there a little bit early because it did get crowded at night, and they did it in sequence. They'd go to the BB Kings, then they'd go to the Billboard on board, and then they would go to the Rolling Stone, and then they do that twice a night, so you could just make the rounds. So if you missed the first show, you could see the second one.
Okay.
And then the as far as the entertainment in the main theater, they had a really good dance group on there. I think they're called One Step.
Okay.
There were some really talented dancers and singers in there. They had a couple of comedians that week, and they do the comedians in the main stage, so you don't ever have to fight for space in there. There was always plenty of seating in there. They had some illusionists come on. They were really good.
I love the main theater. I mean, you know that I love all the shows, and it does make it like that's what makes a cruise for me is not just the food, because you get that at any resort, but it's the awesome shows and the entertainment. Did you feel like there was enough entertainment to do in the evenings for you guys, or did you feel like you were longing for more?
Oh, absolutely. There was plenty because once you go to a show, then you go down to the music walk and listen to music all night long. During the days, on the sea days, they would have some good show, not really a show or a documentary on the humpback whales, where
Oh,
the
nice.
cruise director would be in there narrating. And I have to say, the cruise director on here, she's not like a normal cruise director I've seen on, of course, carnival ships. She was just very calm, laid back, very well spoken. She really was just a professional. She should do narration on TV because she just had one of those voices.
Now, how about the ship layout? Like you just said, you kind of had this music block on the ship. We've kind of talked about the kind of buffet area on the ship, the observation lounge. Was it easy to find your way between the different venues on the ship?
Yeah, it really was. I mean, like I said, all the music walk was there on the third deck. The main theater was right there on the third deck. It was all right there together. Once you got up to the Lido deck, the buffet, everything, it reminded me of a Conquest class ship, really.
Okay.
It was really easy to navigate everything. There were no places where you said, "Oh, well, we got to stop here and go upstairs so we can go over there and go downstairs." Everything flowed through perfectly.
Yeah, and I wonder if being owned by Carnival Corporation, I wonder if they, took some things from the older Carnival ships and incorporated that into the layout as well. So it didn't feel like drastically different. It at least felt like a typical Carnival experience.
Yeah, it could be. Very well be.
All right, so now let's talk about the service and the crew, right? The crew I feel like can make or break your experience in a way. If you've got great service, you'll remember that forever. How did you feel like the service and the crew and the customer service, if you had to deal with going down to guest services at all, how did you feel like that compared to some of the experiences you've had previously?
The crew was absolutely excellent. Everybody was friendly, professional. Our first day, when we got on the ship and got some drinks, we were by the aft pool and we met Gil. Shout out to Gil. He was the best bartender on the ship. I said, "Are you here every day?" He said, "No, I'm usually in the casino." So anytime I wanted to go get a drink, I went and saw Gil. He saw me from a mile away. He knew my name before I got up there. He knew what I was wanting to drink.
That's awesome.
Asked me how my day was. Gave me some, pointers in some of the ports. If we didn't have anything planned. So shout out to Gil. He was really good. But really everyone on the ship was friendly.
All right, well, sadly, at some point, your 7-night cruise on Holland America's Koningsdam came to an end back in Vancouver. How was the disembarkation process once back in Vancouver?
Yeah, disembarkation day. I give it 1 star. I don't recommend. It was really seamless, mostly because we picked the latest time to get off board.
Okay.
Because we were staying another night in Vancouver. We knew we couldn't check into our hotel till about 3 o'clock, so we had a leisurely breakfast, sat out there by the aft pool, looking at the city views, just kind of chilling, waiting for them to call our name. And once we got down there, we got in line. I think we got in line. We were off the ship in maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Probably not even that long.
that's
We
awesome.
made our way up through the parking deck. There's a Starbucks right up top. We got a coffee and ordered an Uber to take us to our hotel room.
Man, that's a sad day. No one likes to get off the ship, right? It's like, can we just do this thing
No.
one more time? You see people kind of coming back. When we were getting off, we saw people getting dropped off at the port. It's like, oh, they're about to go be in the same stateroom that I was in,
Yeah.
eating at my same table for 7 nights, looking at those same views. You're like, man, can I just do it one more time? So it's a tough day getting off the ship.
But it was nice having the extra day after we got off the ship because we were able to chill out a little bit, go out and have some dinner. We weren't in a rush to make it to the airport. We just had a nice chill afternoon.
Well, let's wrap up on, overall thoughts, right? How would you compare this cruise against other vacations that you've done in the past? Is there anything that maybe you would have done differently? And for those that are considering a Holland America cruise, any recommendations that you'd have for them as they're booking or looking for their next cruise?
I would expect to have a very chill and relaxing cruise with some excellent food. Like I said before, that's some of the best food I've had on a cruise ship or some places, any restaurant I've been to. But as far as what I would or would not do next time, I don't think I'd get the drink package next time, at least not for this itinerary. I might not get a balcony, even though I love the views. I think I might spend less on the actual cabin and more on the excursions.
Yeah.
You know, take a helicopter ride or, because in Alaska, the excursions can be a little pricey. I think it may be an insurance thing, that being in the U.S., the insurance costs a lot more for them.
Now, Keith, you had hinted at the start that you have a couple more cruises planned later this year and next year. What's next in your cruising lineup?
We are going on the Margaritaville Islander in October for a 7-day Western Caribbean. And then in January, we have one booked on the Norwegian Escape for another Western Caribbean cruise. I think we're just going to try and work our ways around all the cruise lines and see which ones we like best.
Nice. I was about to say, by then you'll already double the amount you've done between, Carnival and Holland are the only two so far, right?
Yes.
All right.
And then I did a ship tour on the Harmony of the Seas last weekend.
What did you think?
Now I really want to get on an Oasis class ship.
Oh, Michael, I'm and you probably listened, Keith. I love the Oasis class, and just, yeah, being
see
able to
why.
tour that thing it's a beast. It's a beast. It's so big. I mean, it probably took you what, like at least a couple hours if just touring to see everything.
Oh yeah, we got in 6,300 steps in like 3 hours.
That's awesome. Yeah. What was your favorite neighborhood on that one?
I would say either the boardwalk or Central Park.
Yep. Tough to go wrong with either of those ones. Well, Keith, thank you again so much for coming on. Make sure, guys, if you're listening and you've enjoyed this, go give Keith some love at Wakeview Travel. I think you can find him on YouTube. He's got his channel up and running there. But Keith, thanks again. And hopefully we get to have you back on the podcast again in the near future. Talk about your thoughts on the Islander, your thoughts on Norwegian as well. But appreciate the time today.
Oh, thank you very much, and thanks for the plug. I know I'll make sure I share the love.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Well, hey, we just want to say quickly, thank you so much, Keith, again for coming on and recording and talking about his Alaska cruise. Always super great to hear about Alaska and to hear from his angle of cruising on Holland America. So that was awesome. If you're listening to this and you want to book a cruise, we can book it for you. We'd love to be your travel agents. We get exclusive pricing with a lot of cruise lines. We can also add onboard credit, which is just a piece of our commission that we can give back to you as a gift, and we'd love to do that, and we'd love to work with you. There's no extra charge for working with us, and we can give you the best rates. Make sure you reach out, 704-313-8556. Make sure you text us, let us know who you are and what you're looking to do. Or you can look at our website, which is cruiseconversationspodcast.com. There's a lot of things and information about booking a cruise on there. There's a jot form you can fill out, as well as just kind of a search engine that you can see a lot of different cruise options. With that, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Cruise Conversations podcast. We'll see you back here next Wednesday.